Okay, so let's try to solve this, make a quick video on this. Biggest idea here, if we want to know the widest or narrowest graph, first I want to know what these numbers kind of represent. And since they are y equals ax squared, we said before a was another name for our slope. So these are slopes. If I just think about what these slopes, these things look like, if you took 7 would be 7 up and 1 over. So it'd kind of make this U shape right here, which that's pretty narrow. 1/5 would be like 1 up and 5 over. So it would be pretty wide. And then 1/3 would be 1 up and 3 over, so it would be kind of in the middle here. So we get this general idea that the smaller the number, the wider it is, the smaller the number in front of the x squared, the wider it is, the bigger the number, the more narrow it is. So that's the basic kind of idea for the first problem. And you would just order it as -7, or you can order it as -5, -3, and then -7. Okay. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 asks for the axis of symmetry and the vertex. Well, here's something that's nice. The axis of symmetry is what cuts this thing in half. So, the axis of symmetry is always going to be x equals, and if you look at what point it cuts right down the middle, it cuts the vertex. So it's always going to be the x value of the vertex. So we're going to find this by doing -b over 2a and get the axis of symmetry. So for this problem, that would be x equals -5 over 8. Because a is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So that's my axis of symmetry. Let's use a different color for our vertex. So for my vertex now, we have the axis of symmetry, which is -5/8. To find this value right here, since that's my x, I would take my x and plug it into here and here. Because I don't really want to spend the time to do that, I'm going to grab a calculator and then tell you what that is. Oh, you get somewhere around -2.6 if you do that. So you take that, you plug it in. After you plug everything in, you get that y value. And so you get -5 comma -2.6. And this would be your vertex right here. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Let's change colors up again. Let's take blue. So it says suppose you have this, and then we get this function. And really what it wants to know is it wants to know this maximum area. Well, anytime I see the words max, I should think, oh, what's another word for max? The vertex. So let's go find a vertex. Well, this, I don't like how this is written, so I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to say a is equal to -x squared plus 27x. Because this kind of gets it into that ax squared plus bx plus c. And again, how you find the vertex is you do -b over 2a. So the x value of my vertex would be -27 divided by -2, which would give you, if we just simplify this a little bit, 13.5. Then I would take this and plug it into here. When I plug that into there, plugging away, I get 1 182.25 when I plug that in. So the biggest thing is just make sure that you're, like, when it says max, find the vertex. The x in this case would be my width, because that's what they said, where x is width, and your y would be that area. So like my two answers would be my width would equal 13.5, and my, if we get rid of this thing, and my length, or my area, would be that 18.25 that I had over there. Let's go for the next one. Different color. Let's try this one. Again, as soon as I see max, what do I want to find? The vertex. So part A, that's going to be the x value of the vertex because it asks for seconds. T is time, so that's going to be the x value. Part B, it's going to be the ball's maximum height, which that would be h. So this is going to be the y value of the vertex. So basically, I just need to find the x and y of my vertex. Again, it's negative b over 2a, so negative 36 divided by 2 times, well, that's 32. Or negative 32, because negative 16 times 2 is negative 32. I don't know what crazy number that is. .125. Now I'm going to take this number, plug it in for t, and find my h. So which gives me 29.25. Again, anytime you see max, it's going to be a vertex. And probably part A will be like the x or y value, and part B will be the other part of the x or y value. Oops, scrolling fast. Okay. They want me to identify the quadratic, linear, and constant term. So as soon as I see that, I know that the only way I know what those things are is when I'm in standard form. Because that's my quadratic, that's my linear, and that's my constant. So I need to put this in standard form. So let's distribute. This should be 6x squared minus 6x plus 6x minus 6 minus 6x squared. Let's see what cancels. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I'm left with negative 6. So my function is y equals negative 6. Well, that makes it really easy. My quadratic term is 0. My linear term is 0. My constant term is negative 6. Whenever you don't have a term, you automatically make it 0. Next things, identify the vertex and axis of symmetry. Vertex, lowest point. So it looks like it's over 1 and down 2, so vertex. Negative 1, comma, negative 2. Axis of symmetry. It's the x value. So it's x equals negative 1, because it's this line right here that cuts it down. The nice part for this, the corresponding points are just these opposite points. I'm not that worried about them. They really don't show up that often. So it's just these opposite points. Next spot. I will not solve through this whole thing, but I will set it up. Let's choose a different color than that so it shows up a little bit nicer. So it says find the quadratic function model. Model means to put it into this form right here. Like, it means to write it in as an equation. Or not an equation, in standard form. So if I want to write this thing in standard form, I have to kind of plug everything into there. And I've been given 3 equations. So I'm going to plug 3 equations into here. See what I get. So I'm going to get 2 equals a negative 1 squared plus b negative 1 plus c. I'm going to get negative 2 equals a times 0 squared plus b times 0 plus c. And I'm going to get 10 equals a times 3 squared plus b times 3 plus c. I could then simplify those and make them into a nicer equation and then use elimination to find the answer. Same thing for here, like the exact same thing. Just write out your equations. I am going to just set up the first one. But you literally just write out the 3 and then afterwards use elimination. If you want to see me do that method, go to video like 4.4, I think, in my notes. It's somewhere in there. Oops. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Oh, write this in vertex form. Hopefully you remember that vertex form is y equals a x minus h squared plus k, where this is the x vertex, and this is my y vertex, and this is my slope. My slope looks to be up 3 and over 1, so y equals 3. X minus my x vertex, which it would be over at negative 2, so that'd be a positive 2, because minus a negative. And then it's up 2, so plus 2. Bingo bango. Identify the vertex, and anytime I think of vertex, I think of making an XY chart and thinking about what would my middle number be. Here it would be negative 2, and when you plug negative 2 into there, you get 5. So this is my vertex. My y-intercept is when x equals 0. If you plug 0 into there, 0 minus 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Negative 12 plus 5 is 7. So I just took my 0 and I plugged it in there. Let's make a better 0. Graphing things. Make an XY chart. 7, 6, 8. Plug in, plug in, plug in. Find your y's. This one. My middle point is negative b over 2a. So for this case, it is 2. So then I would pick 3 and 1. Plug in, plug in, plug in. Graph those points. Write this in vertex form. Well, I know my slope already. It's 2. So that means I just have to find my x vertex and my y vertex. Whoops. X vertex would be negative b over 2a, which in this case would be negative 12 divided by 4. So it's negative 3, so you get y equals 2x plus 3, because a negative negative makes it positive. And plug in whatever you get, like that negative 3 into here. When you plug negative 3 into there, you should get negative 4. Okay. That's essentially how you go through and do all of those problems.